Good day. I am Rubicin Pangilan from the Southern Philippines Medical Center, and I will be discussing a case entitled Overcoming Recurrent Intrauterine Adhesions, a case report highlighting the use of hyaluronic acid gel. These are the objectives for this presentation. Our index case is a 30-year-old newly-gravid who initially presented with vaginal bleeding last 2019. She underwent curettage and biopsy showed a typical hyperplasia and endometrial polyp. No follow-up was done after the procedure. History of present illness started 15 months prior when patient presented with 2 months amenorrhea. Pregnancy was ruled out and ultrasound revealed intrauterine adhesions and a polypoid mass. Hysteroscopy confirmed a 2 by 2 cm and the cervical polyp and extensive adhesions from the fundus to the isthmus. Synechialisis, polyp resection, and starch-based anti-adhesive application were performed. Hormonal therapy was prescribed but not completed due to financial constraints. Biopsy confirmed an endometrial polyp. 3 months later, a second look hysteroscopy showed multiple polypoid tissues and dense adhesions throughout the endometrial cavity. Synechialisis, biopsy, and copper T IUD insertion was done. Biopsy showed endometrial polyp. Regular menstruation resumed thereafter. The patient was lost to follow-up until 11 months after she returned with heavy bleeding and IUD expulsion. Imaging suggested uterine adhesions. Hysteroscopy revealed multiple polypoid masses and dense central and lateral wall adhesions. The endometrium was thickened with cystic spaces and moderate vascularity. Adhesiolysis, biopsy, and hyaluronic acid gel application were done. The patient was given first dose of leuprolide acetate. Biopsy showed endometrial polyp. On follow-up hysteroscopy, the endometrial cavity was visible with moderate filmy adhesions at the fundus and cornwall areas. The right ostium was seen and the endometrium was noted to be irregularly thickened. Adhesions were lysed and hyaluronic acid gel was reapplied and a second dose of GnRH was given. After a month, the uterine cavity was well visualized with a single filmy adhesion at the left cornwall area. The endometrium was slightly thickened and both ostia were seen. Hyaluronic acid gel and another GnRH dose were given. Biopsy revealed an endometrial polyp. Patient was advised to follow up after 3 months. Intrauterine adhesions, often caused by uterine trauma or infection, are a major concern for women of reproductive age. They often lead to menstrual disorders, infertility, and significant psychological and physical stress. The incidence of IUAs varies widely based on cause, ranging from a few percent to over 40%. In this case, the patient's IUAs likely resulted from prior curettage and multiple surgeries for abnormal uterine bleeding. The patient presented only with amenorrhea, though IUAs can vary in presentation from asymptomatic to severe reproductive dysfunction. IUAs develop due to poor healing marked by fibrosis, insufficient regeneration of the basal layer, vascular disruption, and tissue hypoxia. This lead to a scarred uterine cavity. This underscores the importance of interventions that promote healthy tissue repair and prevention of adhesion formation. Hysteroscopic adhesiolysis is the main treatment for IUAs. To prevent recurrence, physical barriers and hormone therapy are used. Newer methods like biomaterials and cell-based therapies aim to enhance endometrial healing. This case was managed using an evidence-based approach focused on cavity restoration and adhesion prevention. The American Fertility Society classification was used to assess the severity of the patient's IUAs and monitor treatment progress. Initial treatment included a starch-based anti-adhesive, hormonal therapy, and IUD insertion. Despite these measures, the AFS score remained unchanged. Estrogen progesterone therapy promotes endometrial regeneration, glandular growth, hormonal balance, and cycle regulation. However, the patient could not complete the three-cycle of estradiol valorate and medroxyprogesterone acetate regimen due to financial limitations. A systematic review revealed that while IUDs may aid in restoring menstrual volume post-adialysis, combining them with hormone therapy, hyaluronic acid, or amniotic membranes would yield better outcomes. Limited data exists on starch-based antiadhesives in IUAs. A study by Lisa et al. Suggested that they may be as effective and safe as hyaluronic acid, but they require validation through larger trials. With recurrent symptoms, treatment was intensified using hyaluronic acid gel after repeated adhesiolisis. The AFS score initially was 10, and upon application of hyaluronic acid gel, the AFS scores reduced to 8 and 4 respectively after its application and subsequent hysteroscopies. Hyaluronic acid is a water-soluble polysaccharide that acts as a physical barrier to reduce adhesion formation. A study by Liu et al. Showed hyaluronic acid significantly lowers IUA incidence post-surgery and reduces its recurrence. The study also concluded that hyaluronic acid gel increases pregnancy rates as well as live birth rates. Zhang et al. Reported that applying a barrier gel post-hysteroscopic adhesiolisis reduced the relative risk of IUA to 0.32. This case shows that a multimodal approach, including surgery, application of anti-adhesive barriers, and hormone therapy, can effectively treat Asherman syndrome. Hyaluronic acid was particularly beneficial in this case. Key takeaways for this case are the following. Use of anti-adhesive gels and other barriers post-surgery prove helpful in preventing recurrence of adhesions. The involvement of a multidisciplinary team is essential, and it is important to intervene early to protect the endometrium. While they do not guarantee fertility, these steps support uterine healing and menstrual recovery. These are my references, and thank you very much for your kind attention.